Hi again, welcome back to Gaijin 50 Plus, where today I'll be taking you back to the early 1970s and telling you about what happened the first time I went out to the Fukuoka countryside to meet my wife's parents. Well, it was the middle of summer, and I was dressed in my best. I was wearing my best suit, probably it was my only suit at the time. And I had to go out to a station called Nakashima, which was out on the Nishitetsu line, about 90 minutes outside of Fukuoka, because I had to meet my wife's parents for the first time. Her mom and dad were against our getting married, and so we got married anyway, and then I was going to face them, so I was a little bit scared and a little bit tense, and the weather didn't help that much either. It was really hot that day. And the train I was on was not air conditioned, and I was like I said, wearing this suit. So this heat combined with all the mental tension really had me like hunkering down mentally, wondering what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it and how I'm going to respond if they say things to me. So finally, I got on the train and I arrived at Nakashima Station. And Nakashima Station is on an elevated platform. So when you get off, you had to go down this very long flight of stairs. They were a long flight of concrete stairs at the time. And my wife told me, go down the stairs, and underneath the station, which is on the platform, there will be a taxi stand. Get a taxi, tell them this, and the taxi will bring you to my house. So I said, okay, simple enough. Go down the stairs, go to the taxi stand, no taxis. And of course, in those days, we didn't have cell phones or mobile phones of any sort. So it was just a matter of standing there and waiting until one of the taxis assigned to that taxi stand made its way back. And that's what I did. Now, the street in front of Nakashima Station was very narrow, as often is the case in the Japanese countryside small town. And the Japanese countryside buildings are built in a way that their front are right up against the road, the side of the road. So there's no place for sidewalks. And this road was 2 lanes, 1 lane going each way. And on each side was a small path allowed for pedestrians marked off by a white line. So like I said, I'm standing there, and even though the traffic wasn't that heavy, since the road was so narrow, it seemed like there was quite a bit of traffic going on. But anyway, the train left. The train that I got off of left, and people were going about their business, and I'm just standing there, waiting for my taxi, not knowing what else to do. And I knew that because of my usual experience, that I would be a bit of the center of attention way out in Nakashima there, and so I was trying to keep a pleasant smile on my face and look as non-threatening as possible, so I wouldn't scare anybody away. And people were checking me out, but nothing really that bad, until off to the corner of my eye, I catch a sight of this old guy on a bicycle. Now, when I say bicycle, I mean the old style country bicycles of Japan, not the nice fashionable ones that people are riding today. The old style bicycles in countryside Japan, they were built like tanks. They were big. The handlebars, you had to hold them about like this. They were heavy duty. They had a rack on the back where you could put heavy loads to carry. And they were they weren't built for speed. They were built for utility. And a little bit hard to keep your balance, and you couldn't really work up that much speed. And they were perfect for like the old guy that I saw. He's on this thing and he's riding along. And like I said, it was during the middle of summer and it's very hot, and he was dressed in the typical old guy countryside summer attire. He was wearing a white t-shirt, and he was wearing white drawers, white cotton drawers, loose-fitting drawers that went down to about his knees. And these are called steteko. And they are very nice because they're very lightweight, and they look like underwear or pajamas, and people do wear them as underwear these days, but back in those days, during the hot summer days, a lot of men, especially older men, wore them even outside. And but they always, when they wore these kind of warm weather clothes, it always made me laugh because around their middles they would have a knit stomach band, stomach warmer, and it always made me feel funny because why would you take off all these clothes to get cool and then put a knit woolen looking thing around your stomach? And I used to ask people about it, and they said, well, if you don't put something around your stomach will get cold and you'll catch a cold, which, I never heard back where I came from, so I couldn't understand. Stetoko are still worn these days. Some people wear them underneath their business clothing to keep sweat off of their clothing. I heard that some women also wear stomach warmer. They're called haramaki in Japanese. Hara meaning stomach, maki means wrapping. And pregnant women, I guess, like to wear them to keep their stomach warm when they're carrying a baby. So anyway, there's this guy dressed like that. He's got this straw hat on, typical countryside straw hat. And I caught him out of the corner of my eye because he was looking at me. And his eyes were locked on me like I don't know what. He was just staring at me, going so slowly. And I could imagine that he was thinking, what is this big-nosed, round-eyed guy doing out here in my local train station? But there he was. He was looking at me. And as I said, I caught sight of him here. So he was kind of like looking this way. But as he went by me, his eye never came off of me. He came even with me, so he was looking at a 90 degree angle. And as he kept going, he kept looking. He completely lost any kind of feeling that he was on a bicycle going forward and completely ignored where he was going. And he even turned his body and just staring at this strange being from another place. And he was so engrossed in looking at my face that he didn't notice that a car in front of him had stopped. And he just kept going, and as he looked in my face, he ran into the car. And luckily, he was going so slow, it didn't do any damage. It was more shock to his system than anything else. He runs into the car, halfway falls down and, caught himself and trying to get the thing back up, and his hat's falling off and stuff like that. And it was pretty comical. I admit, I started laughing my butt off. And then just about then, a taxi pulled up. So still laughing, I got in a taxi, handed him the paper with the directions to my wife's home, and I was out of there. And to this day, I wonder, that guy had to have gone home, and he must have told his family what he had experienced that day. And I would like to have been a fly on the wall to listen to that conversation as this guy related to his family about what he encountered in front of Nakashima Station that day. But anyway, that is my story for the day. Like I said, it is true, 100% true. Take it from me. And I look forward to seeing you again next week when we bring you some interesting stories about Japan. Gaijin 50 Plus.